The decision to build here and where and what we're building was a decision we'd come to even before the fire. We had thought, what would happen if we lose our house, our beautiful Western Red Cedar house by the creek? What would we do? The first decision we made was we'd like to stay in the community because it's a lovely community. But we'd like to be safer, we'd like to tread less heavily on the planet because we're very conscious of our footprint. Over the 6 years that we lived up here, I had looked around the property and thought, well, the creek's very pretty, but it may not be the most suitable place to be for a number of reasons. And I'd settled on this location just here. One of the main drivers for that you've already seen. Just look around and it's not hard to understand why we chose this position here. Secondly, it's right alongside the big water tank that we built 6 years ago. Thirdly, it was open, so the threat from fire is significantly reduced. And in fact, when we were having the bell assessment done for the DA, the bell assessor, when he said where and I said here, he went, this is perfect. And we ended up with a BAL 29 rating. BAL stands for Bushfire Attack Level. It's an assessment of the threat level of if a fire comes. For this site, because of the distance to the tree line, access, the slopes and everything else, access to the road, number of reasons why we end up with a BAL 29, which is a very favourable rating. They rated that old house site as flame zone. So if you were going to choose BAL 29 or flame zone, it's not much of a choice, is there? We decided to build an earth sheltered house, that is an underground house, primarily for the thermal stability characteristics of it. But now that we've been through this bushfire experience, we're also going to enjoy significantly higher protection from fire if it comes through again. But the protection from fire is not just driven by the construction of the house, it's driven by its location, and it's driven by a lot of the design features of the house. We've got literally 7 layers of protection between us and the next fire now. The first one is location, and the fact that it's out in the open, and we now know that a fire can cross this open paddock, but it does so at a very low height and not raging. The construction, there's only one face of the house that is exposed, that's the north facing face, and that face is built of block, concrete block. Then we've got a sprinkler system across the front of the house. Then we've got fire shutters on the doors and windows. Then we've got crimsafe screens on the doors and windows. Last resort, we've got an area inside the house that is rated at 1.5 hours of fire protection as a bolt hole of last resort. From the experience, the next fire that comes through, we will pull down the shutters, turn on the sprinkler and go into town. If we can. If we can't, we go into the bolt hole. Part of our thinking back in the before the fire of what we would do if we lost the house was to recognise all the shortcomings of the old house, not just what it was built of and where it was located, but how it was designed. And I can't hide the fact that we're getting older. So we designed this house very much with our next 20 years in mind. The house is going to be fully off-grid. That will lower our cost of living. We're putting another 3 water tanks in. So it's all been very carefully thought through as to make our life as easy as possible for the next 20 years or more, hopefully.